Da-da-da-da. And we are live. Don't worry, everyone. Ivor will be here soon. He's apparently stuck in traffic, but whenever he gets here, we will just add him to the show, and that's how it's going to be. You can probably see Scott has he's had a bit of a appearance change, which is quite funny. So, Scott, first of all, what the hell has happened to your hair?
Well, I had a bet with my cousin, who's a Coventry City fan. In October time, Coventry were flirting with relegation at the time, and we were towards the top end of the table. So he basically said, if Coventry go down, we'll go bleach blonde and buzz cut, and if we go up, I've got to go bleach blonde and have a buzz cut, and this is what it is. So here I am.
There you go. The first comment of the day. Here is Ivor. He is about to be here. We'll add him now. Sorry. Mr. Ivor, hello.
Oh, how are we, gang?
I am good. Have you seen Scott's hair?
Oh my God, what happened?
I had a bet with my cousin, and here I am, bleach blonde.
What the fuck was the bet?
The bet was if Coventry were flirting relegation, so if they went down, they would have had to go. He would have to go bleach blonde and buzz cut, and if Wimbledon got promoted, I'd have had to go bleach blonde and buzz cut. So it's a terrible thing to have on my head, but we're up, so I don't really care.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Ivor, I think you'd suit Scott's hair, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you should do it as well, Ivor, to be quite honest.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. yeah. We can have that. You find the bet and I'll tell you if I want to do it or not.
All right, I'll have a think.
Yeah, you can love it. You'll be thinking for a really long time, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Everyone's commenting, nice hair, Scott.
Well, thank you. But I wish I had my own.
Amazing. Right, let's get into the important stuff. Monday was sensational. 1-0 win over Walsall. Back into League One, where we belong. Miles Hippolyte goal just before the break. Pretty much killed off everything. Has it sunk in for both of you? Do you still feel as excited as Monday? Has it sunk in? Who wants to start today?
Well, I'll go because Ivor looks like he's investing in something else at the moment. I'd say I don't think it will sink in for anybody until the fixtures are announced, really. I think we're going to be on that high for a very long time.
It's not long to go, actually, to the fixtures.
No, is it 15th of June round that usually, isn't it?
I believe so.
26 this year.
26 later. Yeah. That's a Tuesday or Wednesday, isn't it?
It's at lunchtime. It's usually a Thursday. I'm sure I saw 26th of June.
That's fine. Me and my cousin usually sit back and have a nice chat at lunchtime about all the fixtures and what we're looking forward to. But I don't think it's going to take until then to sink in, really, because what a high we've been on after that. It was a fantastic game and fantastic emotions, and you don't top that, do you? 1-0 win, clean sheet again, fantastic goal. And they didn't really threaten us either. There wasn't many too squeaky bum times during the game, so it's going to take a long time for it to sink in, and I think my good lady over here understands that as well.
Love it.
Does she really understand it? Or does she think you're a bit of a nutter like mine thinks with me?
Oh, yeah, she thinks I'm a nutter. She does think I'm a nutter. But I think deep down they do realise what we go through.
I'm just trying to find out. I'm just trying to check when that actual day is. I'm pretty sure.
Scott, how can I? Someone wants to know. Did you go, Scott? I think he probably means Monday, but maybe did you go with that hair or not?
Oh no, I didn't go with that hair. I got that hair done on Tuesday evening. So I was.
It's Thursday the 26th.
Thursday 26th. There you go, then.
12 noon. So normally they do it before breakfast. I like that doing it at lunchtime. Because you can sleep the night before.
If we had to choose, who would we want for a first game of the season?
Ooh, Stevenage. Get it out of the way.
Stevenage. That's not a bad shout. Stevenage away or home?
I think I'd quite like them away, actually, first game.
Quite local as well. We get a lot of fans coming down, I'm sure. So, Ivor, has it sunk in for you? How was your day on Monday? What was your experience like?
I mean, I did it differently to last time. So the last time, in 2016, I took my parents. It was the last game that they both came to. It was a very wonderful day. But I had to drive them there for medical reasons and stuff like that. This time, we Lisa and I got the tube, and I got there really early, and I met Dickie Guy, and we sat on Wembley Way and watched the world
we saw
go
you on
by.
Wembley Way, I believe. I
shouted you. Yeah, we watched the world go by on there. That was brilliant. That was magic for me. And for people were coming up to us, like we saw you lot. We knew a lot of people that went past. That was a really nice time. There were people that I've known for like 40 years going past and saying hello and everything. Then we went in and I did a lot of networking and talking to people as you do at events like that. And at the time dragged. we had to sit down lunch and everything, and it dragged. And I went to see a couple of pals of mine that were in other sections, and I managed to have a bit of a chat with them. That kind of broke it up a little bit, but it was long. But the game itself, to be honest with you, after 10 minutes, I just turned around to everyone that was around us, and there were quite a few interesting people around us, and I said, I'm not worried about this.
100%, I agree. I think I was quite confident for the whole game. I mean, I've said it so many times. I just know how good this team is, and it just felt like we were comfortable straight away. And that's been really impressive for the whole season.
Well, that big ugly brute of a number 9 committed 3 fouls in the first 10 minutes, and
Scott's going to have an opinion.
And then I thought we should have got booked for the last one. I thought it was a bad foul actually, and he didn't get booked. But I think that then he realised that he couldn't breathe again. And that was the end of him, more or less, wasn't it? Except for the one little flick on the head in the second half.
But
I would never ever thought we weren't going to win, and first goal was always going to win it.
Yeah,
Scott, same for you.
Yeah, I said last week that first goal wins a game, and I think first half we absolutely dominated the game all over the park. Thought Miles Hippolyte, Alistair Smith, and Jake Reeves in the middle of the park were absolutely phenomenal. Probably the best all three of them played collectively all season. And like I've said, I said about Jamil Matt, he's a big brute up front. He's a bit of a thug, and he laid a couple of elbows again. He did and he got
as always.
And
like you said, the third one he should have been pulled up and booked for. I mean, you heard me from about 10 seats away, Reece, what my opinion was on that. But surprised Ivor didn't hear me from the other side of the ground. But yeah,
I think I did.
Yeah. I wasn't too impressed with the way he goes about playing football personally, and he got hooked. He got hooked just after around the hour mark because his legs are gone. He's a 35-year-old centre forward that can't compete with Joe Lewis. Physically can't beat with Joe Lewis. Not quick enough for Joe Lewis, and you knew what was going to happen. He got hooked off, and Amanchi probably scared Joe Lewis probably once with his pace. But other than that, no real worries at all for the back line. Joe Lewis was immense again. He won every header, didn't he?
100%. Before we get talking about the goal itself, I just want to talk about the fans, because just looking around Wembley, first and second tier, third tier of fans, double Warsaw's, just 30,000 Wimbledon fans. It was just a sight to behold, really. It was just incredible. Ivor, you probably had a better view of it all. What was your thoughts on all of the fans there?
Well, funny enough, I had a chat with Eric Samuelson earlier on, and Eric has never, he doesn't accept praise and self-aggrandizement at all. I do, he doesn't. And he said to me, and we both had the same thoughts during the game, clearly, because I did take a couple of moments, particularly at the beginning and at the end, and I looked at it and I just thought, Jesus Christ. 23 years ago, we started this, and I'm really not sure that I don't know what I believed. I always thought that we would be successful. I always thought we would get into the league. I knew that we'd play in finals. I knew that we'd have a lot of fun along the way. But best part of there were 30,000 plus Wimbledon fans in that ground, because we had people in boxes and hospitality and everything that weren't on the actual ticket sales that from us. I couldn't believe it. It was magnificent. I've been to a lot of Wembley playoffs, a lot of games, and I remembered I went to Cambridge United versus Torquay, and I remember sitting there, and there were, I think it was something like 25,000 Cambridge fans at the game, and Torquay had a player, Tim Seals, his brother played for us, and I remember watching it, going, "Oh, I want one of them. I want to send a forward like that. We're never going to get one of them." Well, we did. We're never going to get one of them, and we're never going to have 25,000 fans at Wembley going absolutely potty, having a great time. That's that. Are we ever going to do that? And now we've surpassed it all. I mean, it was unbelievable. It really was. It was just magnificent. And when the goal went in, I did look straight at the fans, and I know, the buzzword is limbs. The limbs. Well, I mean, even in the Royal Box, I was going absolutely mental, as everybody else was. But the limbs that you could see was phenomenal. The equivalent back in my day was crowd surging. You always, you knew you were in a decent crowd when the crowd, you watched it back on television, you saw the crowd surging. It was I used to love all of that, getting smashed up against the crash barrier. It was great,
Is this one of your kind of proudest moments because you're obviously one of the co-founders, you've been in it thick and thin, seen us get promoted again with so many fans. Is that kind of one of the proudest moments you've seen us, really?
Yeah, it's got to be, really. Yeah. It definitely it ranks up there with the other great days. It was very different for me because against Plymouth, I was much more operational, much more involved. We had our sponsors there that I had to look after. There were all sorts of things. I was running around like a chicken with my head chopped off that day. This one, I could sit back and relax a lot more and breathe it all in and feel it. And it was amazing, just magnificent. What can you say?
Exactly. Scott, what was your opinion on the fans? You were in the thick of it, behind the goal, limbs everywhere. Atmosphere was pretty decent as well. Obviously, it's hard to create a good rhythm at Wembley, but what was your thoughts on the day? We had the Green Man before as well, and that was a great atmosphere as well.
Yeah, the Green Man was fantastic because there was a lot of fans that we see week in, week out in the South Stand there, so it was nice to have a bit of a mingle, let a few of them meet my wife as well, who knows how to pull with me and stuff. But the noise in there was fantastic. There was pockets starting one song and everybody followed in, and then other pockets started another and everybody followed in. But I remember just walking into the ground, into the stadium, and about just as the players went in and we all, clapped and cheered, I just looked around, looked up, third tier getting full as well, and there was just goosebumps and my hairs are standing on end on my arms, and it's just it's a special day, and like we're little old Wimbledon, aren't we? We shouldn't really have 30,000 fans in the stadium. Nobody ever thought that, but it comes down to, again, the way the club is, formed, and the way we're trying to get up the leagues, and people just love our story. I mean, John Green was in the Green Man beforehand, and everybody's having pictures with him and having chats with him because they think he's our little celebrity, isn't he, as such? But not as big as either, I must admit. But he's our little celebrity that's, he's trying to fundraise a bit of money every now and then to get these players across the line, like Joe Lewis and Marcus Brown. So, but I can remember that post you retweeted, Reece, from the Walsall end. That is fantastic. I've had that view firsthand straight away, not on a camera or anything. I could just, I'd have hated that if we were Walsall and there was 30,000 fans cheering the other end. I think I'd just be like, it'd be an amazing noise, but you'd be gutted, wouldn't you?
100%. Yeah. It feels like Wimbledon are on an upward trajectory. I mean, I go back to 30,000 Wimbledon fans there. I never thought we'd get that ever, but we're back into League One. I think if we can keep the core of the squad, I think that would be just amazing. I think that's the first thing we've got to do. Let's say in the next, 5 years, where do we see Wimbledon going? What is the kind of next steps of just, is it keeping us in League One, being a sustainable club? Ivor, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's really difficult to say because I don't really know what kind of budget we're going to be going in with next year. But I would imagine we will be very close to bottom, if not bottom.
Probably.
That's the way it's going to be, which is fairly obvious to work that out as things stand. However, I do think that with Kopi and the management team, you've got to give a lot of credit to the management team right now. 4 1-0 wins like that, and quite frankly, I was never breaking sweat at any of them. Not counting the first leg was a great game of football, but we deserved our 1-0 win. The other games, it was never even breaking sweat. Grimsby and County again, and Walsall Saturday. I think we're going to have to set up and be a bit brutal. We're going to have to stop teams playing, but I think that we can do that. And I think that in Cope and Kopi and Andy Thorne, I think we've got the talent to bring in the right players and keeping the nuts and bolts of this squad together, which I think we will do. We'll be all right for the first season.
Scott?
Well, I think we've got a good enough group, a good spine and core, like you said about the team. That I think Joe Lewis is a League One centre half. I think Marcus Brown is a League One player. I think Jake Reeves is a League One central midfielder and captain. So as long as you keep a spine and you work around the spine, I mean, we'll probably get onto the retain list and everything. But the 3 players that are going to have to that we've offered contracts to, they're massive. If them 3 will sign, I'll be sitting there saying, I think I said the other day, I'd take 15th, 16th, definitely. But
100%.
With a little cup run in there, we haven't done much in the FA Cup recently. We had a couple of good spells in the Carabao Cup, but this club's based on the FA Cup, isn't it? The whole history of it is based on the FA Cup. So maybe a nice little run in the FA Cup, and hopefully, next 5 years, let's see if we can get another good young prospect coming through and sell on again, like we have been doing, like Jack Redoni and like the goalkeepers, like Spike Brits and Will Mannion and all these other goalkeepers that come through the ranks. I think we might have a slight sell-on clause still with Redoni, and I know Redoni's linked with a few Premier League clubs at the moment. It's just about stabilising the whole club, isn't it? So it's stabilising, getting us out the red area sort of thing, and making sure that we can continue to be self-efficient and pick up these little gems that Cope keeps on finding.
100%.
There's going to be players going out on loan next year, no doubt, and we're going to get players in loan again, no doubt. But if we keep that core, I can see a little sideways season next season. Go to these new grounds, pick up some good. We've got to make sure that next season the fortress is Plough Lane again, and make it as hostile for teams. These teams that Cardiff playing in the Premier League not so long ago. Let's make them come down to our place, and let's make Plough Lane become a horrible place to play football, which it has been for these League Two sides, but the League One sides haven't experienced it for a few years. So let's get on to them and make that a bit of a thing and go and try and nick a point away from home against some of the high budget clubs sort of thing.
What clubs are we excited to go to next season? Because I think I saw a stat or something where it's only 6 or 7 teams the last time we were in League One. They're still in the same league. So I think there's big teams. There's Cardiff, Reading, Luton. We have so many memories there. That 2-2 draw, I believe it was. Ivor, you go to every single game. Yeah. Well, same with Scott as well, nearly. What grounds are you most excited to visit next season?
Definitely Cardiff. I've got a couple of good pals down there. So, I mean, with a bit of luck, that's on the right time when we can go down to Celtic Manor and have a bash around a half-decent golf course. Combine that one up, that'd be a riot down there. I mean, Cardiff, I love Cardiff. It's a great place to go. Reading, obviously, because we haven't played them at the Majestic, although I remember many battles against them at Elm Park. But we look forward to that one. Huddersfield again. It's been a long time since we played Huddersfield, so we'll enjoy that. I would imagine we'll enjoy that a lot. All of them. Barnsley again. I mean, Barnsley's a great place to go. They're all. I look there and basically someone said, "What does it really mean in real terms?" I said, "Well, we've swapped Newport for Cardiff, and we've swapped Accrington for Bolton. What's not to like?"
Oh, wow, that is beautiful. The fact we don't have to have Accrington away on a Tuesday night makes me so happy.
We've also swapped Fleetwood for Blackpool.
Yeah. I mean,
There you go.
You know, they're great analogies and they're spot on. And I'm looking forward to going to Blackpool actually, because every time we've been there, there's been elements of going to Blackpool that I've really not liked. Elements within their boardroom and their ownership structure, the way they
Scott
work.
just wants it for the night out, pretty much.
I just wanted Blackpool early doors, nice sunshine, like it was. I think it was the last time we played there. It was a nice day on the Saturday, and then chucked it down on the Sunday when we stayed up. That was a fantastic day, apart from the actual football. But Blackpool away, Plymouth away, first game, that'd be lovely in the sunshine. Fingers crossed.
Or Exeter away as well. I'm looking forward to Exeter because again, I've got some friends there, and that'll be a right laugh.
I'm just looking forward to going to these new grounds that I haven't been to personally. I think there's about 11 grounds I haven't been to in that league.
Really?
Wow. Burton Albion for me is literally a stone's throw away. I could walk there in the next half an hour.
We're all round for tea then, Scott. We'll be round for tea. We're coming round for tea before the Burton game.
Yeah, you come round for tea. You come round for tea.
Yeah.
No problem.
See what Adam said there. And we swapped MK for a proper football club. Here, Adam, well said.
Yeah, exactly right.
Wanted to talk a little bit more about the game. We haven't talked about the goal that much. Miles Hippolyte pretty much had a long injury during the season, came back just before the playoffs started, straight back into the starting 11, which Johnny Jackson must have had some confidence with him, and he showed it. I think he has that element where he's just calm on the ball, not stressed about anything. He gets on the ball, he looks up. I think he's flicked the ball over a couple players throughout the whole playoff campaign, which is good. Outside of the box finish as well, we haven't had too many of those this season. What have our thoughts been on Miles Hippolyte? Because it was a great strike, and I think ever since he's come back into the midfield, he's been very impressive. And I think he's a pretty important player for next season. I think
he got fit at the right time.
Yeah,
I think he got fit, and I think he's at peak fitness just in time for the playoff final. Because he didn't stop running the whole time. He was absolutely immense. Obviously you get yourselves up for a cup final like that, but he really impressed me. Leadership and resilience, and that finish was it was a cracking finish. Because that ball came at him quite quick,
Yeah.
Came at him quite quick, and after Marcus's shot was a great shot, which wasn't going in by the way, but it was like a bit of pinball there. Doing. We had 180 points on the board straight away, and then he's just absolutely smacked it. Beautiful.
Scott, your thoughts on that?
Well, I said to you for a while, I think he's just got that bit of class about him. He's got a cracking touch, and he's got a bit of flair in the midfield that we need. Obviously, you got the doggedness of Alistair Smith and Jake Reeves doing all the ugly work, shall we say, and you need somebody in there with a bit of flair, and a left foot as well gives a nice bit of balance to the team. Yep. Like Johnson does, we do go missing slightly when Ryan Johnson doesn't play and we don't have a left-footed centre-half. So having that left-footed sort of midfielder does certainly help out. And to be fair, there's probably only him and James Tilley that would have probably finished that coming at him so quickly in that position. But I think he was fantastic. I thought him and Smudger were absolutely fantastic first half. They were, every touch their midfielder had, they were on him straight away. And it's not very often, supporters sit back and watch and see that from a midfielder. They just think, they're there popping the ball by and everything. But they were at it. From the first whistle to the last, they were at it. And I said to you, we said the other day about trying to get on the ball, and he couldn't get on the ball. He could not get anything going first half. They had 0 shots. They had 20% possession just because of the way Miles Hippolyte and Alistair Smith started off the game. They just did not allow him to breathe at all, and he deserved that goal. And he deserved that goal for all the hard work he's been putting in behind the scenes. He came back slightly for Carlisle, and he didn't look right at all. Came back off. He had a few more weeks away. We saw him come out of the gym next to Plough Lane, sweating buckets. He's worked so hard behind the scenes, and he deserves that moment in the spotlight. And yeah, like you said, he's going to be a very vital player in League One next year.
100%. I'm just trying to put my laptop on charge if I'm just moving around.
You're right.
What next to talk about? Scott, give me an idea quickly.
Well, I think the best thing to talk about now is probably the retain list and
Yes.
who we want to see back. And there was no surprise to me at all. I think I said to you walking out the ground, I think James Ball's gone. I think Barlow was gone. Barlow he's not a right wing back, and that's going to be the formation we're going to be playing next year. So, yeah, no real surprises for me at all.
I'll read it out. Under contract, we have Bugle, Foyo, Harbottle, Hippolyte, Kai Jennings, Josh Kelly, Joe Lewis, Callum Maycock, Jake Reeves, Aaron Sassu, Harry Sidwell, Ethan Sutcliffe, Matthew Stevenson, Leo Young. Some very important players under contract, to be honest with you. Do we maybe see any of those players getting any transfers or any clubs kind of looking into them and possibly selling them on? What are our thoughts on that?
Not for me. I don't think that. So the only one that might be worth a couple of quid, but now we're in League One, I don't think he'd go. Is Joe Lewis.
Yeah,
but I don't see him. I mean, if a Championship club came in for him with some real money, then obviously he'd go. But I don't see that happening. I don't think he's there yet. He's got to prove himself in League One, then maybe step up, maybe. But of the rest of them on that retained list, I don't see people coming in with bundles of money there for any of them. To be honest, that's no disrespect to them. They're good League One, League Two players.
Yeah, I think us going up has saved a lot of aggro and a lot of decision making, because I don't think Josh Nerfel would have signed if we hadn't gone up. I think he will sign. And Joe Lewis might have been on the wanted list from a few teams. Any of the three teams that have gone up, maybe somewhere close to him. Maybe a Reading might have gone after him. I'm not too sure. Even Cardiff might have gone after him. He's a Welsh boy, isn't he? But I can't see him move, and I think he knows that he is our number one centre half. I think he likes to be the main man at the back, and I think he loves the club. So I can't see him going for any money at all.
How important do you think it is to kind of keep the core of the defence as well? Because it's 25 clean sheets. It was a 25th clean sheet on Monday. Ryan Johnson's one of the ones which has been offered a new contract. There's some people that have been saying that I think that I've seen people saying that they think he's easily replaceable. That he's probably he's the worst of the three centre backs that we have. What are our thoughts on that? Do we think he'll sign a contract as well?
I think just to quantify things about Jono, I certainly don't think he's the worst of our centre backs. I don't think any of them are bad. And singling him out for that kind of treatment, Jono has played for us when he's been still a little bit on the injured list, and 100%. And that's and people have had a pop in when he's not been fully fit, and I find it very easy for people to throw things at players and particularly players that are carrying knocks and turning out for you when they could just protect the longevity of their career. And I think that it's taken Jono time to recover from injury, and that is something that a fully fit Jono is easily a League One defender, fully fit. And you have to take that into account. So there were times last year when we didn't have enough personnel. He played, and you've got to look at that. So I think Lewis and Riley Harbottle was a three centre backs. They're absolutely brilliant. Isaac, I love Isaac. I think Isaac's amazing. He's the unluckiest man on the planet not to have started.
100%.
But
Ryan Johnson's also vice captain as well. So I think if Johnny Jackson has given him that role, and he's been captain for quite a lot of games this season, as you said, with injuries when Jake Reeves has been out as well. So I think if he's loyal enough, I think he'll stay because he's been put vice captain as well. I think that's another important aspect to it all.
Yeah, it's another reason. It's another reason, isn't it, for him to stay? But I watched the Riley Harbottle post match interview, and he basically said that all three of them are best mates. They're like best mates. Yeah. They absolutely love playing with each other, and they'll put the ball on line for each other. And you're not going to not sign a contract knowing that you can play with your two best mates at centre half week in, week out, and experience League One football together it's not really going to happen. And like I've said, he isn't easily replaceable because we've just said about his left foot. It's hard to get a proper left-footed centre half around that level that can do what he does, sort of thing. The only slight thing he probably needs to work on is probably attacking the ball from corners from our side. That's the only thing we've lacked, really. Goals from, probably Ryan Johnson from corners. Joe Lewis attacks them a bit, but he hasn't really scored many this season. So that's probably the only gripe with them three. They're so good defensively, they don't know where the goal is at the other end from corners.
Exactly. If anyone has some thoughts for the retain list as well, get them in and we will talk about them. The other two that have been offered a new contract, Josh Neuville and James Tilley. It's worrying that they're both wing backs and they've been very, very important for us for different reasons. And the fact that both of them have been defensively solid as well. I think if them two stay, I think we will keep kind of the same way that we've been playing. I worry that if they don't, then we'll be kind of changing the system that we play, because I think having the same way we play, that will keep the momentum of the side and everything like that. Do we see Josh and James signing contracts? I mean, they've shown passion all season and everything like that. They've been the players that have played most of the games as well, which has been impressive. Do we see them two signing on as well?
I think I'm just going to say something here. Since we've been back in the league, the player that showed the most, how would I put it? The loyalty and the thing that we all want our players to be, which is to have a whole level of dedication to the club and do the right thing by the club. The one player that stands out for me is Jake Reeves. So Jake Reeves signed a new contract with us when he knew that there were clubs kind of sniffing around. He put in a reasonable. He signed a contract, but there was a reasonable buyout clause. So if someone came in for him, we would benefit out of it, and he would get a move to a bigger club. And so that's exactly what happened with him. So he did the right thing by the club there. We put him in that shop window, and it was brilliant what he did for us. And it's what he has a level of discretion that I really, really like. One thing I think that we all need to be aware of is that football is a very short career, and if someone comes in with £500 a week more, to more or less any of these players we're talking about, then they're going to have a mighty hard time turning it down. It's really difficult if you think about it. It's £500 a week in football terms is not that much. We can't afford it, and therefore just be prepared that even though we've gone up, there is a point here where we literally, there are players you just can't afford to keep. And I think that we've got one of them out of that list.
Who's that, Ivor? Tell us.
Well, we probably can't afford to keep Neufville. We probably can't. I'd love to think that he'll sign for us. I think he could do with a year with us, prove himself in League One with us in a system that he's comfortable with. Then I think he'll get a move up, and that'd be fantastic and a great way to do it. But he'll have people in his ear saying you can earn like £1,500 a week more by going somewhere, that we can't afford to give him that kind of pay rise. I'm pretty sure of that. I don't know. I've got no idea what he's on, but that happens. I mean, the greatest one that we ever had like that was Lyle Taylor. We made the biggest offer we ever made to anyone to Lyle Taylor. We made him a massive offer for us. But he refused to sign, and I can't blame him. Look what happened to him after that. The guy set himself up for the rest of his life with two more moves that were amazing. And can you blame him? Because if he's shown loyalty to us, he already had a buyout clause. Nobody had triggered his buyout clause in all that time.
Exactly.
So if he signed another deal with us, no one could turn around and say, well, he'll do that. So I'm just prepare yourselves and don't be surprised
Preparing myself for disappointment.
But well, no, because like it's happened before, it'll happen again.
Yeah, 100%.
And then we go again. When Danny Kedwell left, everyone gone, that's the end of it. The next season, we had the highest scorer in the league, Jack Midson. So it happens. I'm prepared for it, but I'm really hopeful that we'll sign. I think we'll sign 2 out of the 3, and I'd love to think we could get 3 out of 3. It'd be magnificent if we did.
Yeah.
I think one more year for Josh will be perfect. I understand everything you're saying. I think Championship football, if he did go there, I just don't want. I understand the money aspect, but if they went 2 leagues above and didn't play, in my personal opinion, if I was a footballer, I'd want to be playing week in, week out, and he would 100% get that at Wimbledon. I think one more year is perfect. I think like his parents online have been talking to Wimbledon fans all the time and everything like that, and they're always positive. So one more year would be great. Next up, in kind of
what if you can't sign a 1-year contract?
Yeah, that's the thing.
You're never going to sign a 1-year contract. So I'm very hopeful that Josh. I hope you're listening to this right now. Put a reasonable buyout figure in there, sign that new contract, have another year with us, and then off you go somewhere.
The only thing is, he's a Luton boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he might have done it going back to Luton.
Yeah, well, like you say, if they chuck another 350 quid more a week, you never know.
Yeah, but I don't think he's already been there, hasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
They're in the same league as well, so
yeah.
he wouldn't want that.
I'd hope he would, but I definitely James Tilley and Ryan Johnson are an absolute certainty. I think James Tilley is a certainty. He's just got a newborn as well. If he signs another 2-year contract, he knows where he is for the next 2 years. Watching his little baby grow up and everything, and he's in a family club, and where he's turning up week in, week out, and I think everybody's made his family ever so welcome up in the lounge bar at the end of the game as well. I've spoken to them a few times, and they're lovely, and I just can't see for the life of me he's not going to sign the contract. It's Josh Nerfel is the one. Like I've said it, it's just personally I think he needs another year, 2 years in League One. He's still a young lad. Is he a Championship football player right now? No. Is he a League One football player right now? Yes, with a bit more coaching and guidance. I just can't see for the life of me that a Championship team's going to come in and take him over their wing and not have him and send him out on loan. We might make a deal. They might make a deal with somebody around the line and get him back on loan for another year and go to Championship club. But that's so far away. I think it's either us or another League One side higher up in the division, like higher up with a bit more of a wage bill.
Exactly. There's 2 other players that are in discussions. That's kind of the next bit on the retain list. Sam Hutchinson obviously had the heart attack at the Grimsby game. I think the interview he did on, what was it, BBC Good Morning Breakfast show, that was like the way he talked about it was sensational. Seems like he wants to stay in the kind of way he words everything, and I really hope he does. I think he deserves another year, and obviously Marcus Brown as well. If we want to keep those 2 and the 3, it's going to be very, very tough. Both of them have been very impressive. What do we think about those 2? And if I think it might go down to, if we had to pick one, who would it kind of be? Because we've had that before where we can afford one and possibly not the other one. Sam Hutchinson, Marcus Brown, do we think they'll both sign? I think they're both League One quality. Do we see Sam Hutchinson playing again? He says he wants to, but a heart attack, you never know.
I don't know what to say, really. I mean, for Sam, I watch Ericsson play for Man United and I'm gobsmacked. The man had cardiac arrest. They fixed the problem, and he's back playing football is beyond imagination to me. So if that could happen to him, it can happen for Sam. And one of the things I was really impressed with Sam, I thought he had legs. His legs hadn't gone very far from it, in fact. So, could I see him doing a job for us? Yep, 100%. I'd like to see that. His football brain is superior without a doubt. As for Marcus, I think he'd be better in League One than he is in League Two. personally, and I'd love to see him sign. I'm not sure that there won't be somebody a little bit higher up the food chain that might just say he's worth giving, that extra £1,000 a week for. And if someone comes in with an extra grand more than us, he's going to go.
100%. Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to be wrong. I'd love them all to sign.
I think Samuelson will sign, but I think there's going to be some sort of discussion where he might have to take a bit of a pay cut, and we're taking a bit of a gamble on him, sort of thing. I'm not sure.
I think Sam just wants to play.
Yeah,
and I don't think he's a big dent in our wage bill.
Yeah, I think he's just a local lad, isn't he? He's a local player. He just wants to play, and he gets the family sort of thing. Like I said, he'll forever be my favourite player now, I think. But Marcus Brown as well. It's whether a championship club comes in and has a little punt in him again after, getting himself back fit, because he is personally, I think, a high League One player. He still isn't fully fit. I don't think he's fully fit at all yet, but we're getting him there, and maybe he might think, this club's took a punt on me. It's given me a chance back after a big injury, and he might want to stay. But there might be teams sniffing around low end of the championship sort of thing. But I'm hopeful both of them do. Because they both give. Samuelson gives experience. He gives a bit of a shoulder for the younger lads to have a chat with. I remember Ogden spoke very highly of him, coming in and helping him defensively and mentally and stuff, because obviously he was outside for a bit, and Og spoke about how much Sam helped him through that, because at the end of the day, Samuelson was on the sidelines for a while with his injury, and it is a mental thing as well, football, and you need somebody in there that's been there and done it all, like Jay Reeves. So experience is needed in League One, so we definitely need to sort something with them too, I think, because the spark of Mark Brown and the experience of Sam Hutchinson is going to stand us in good stead.
Agreed.
100%. I agree with everything you're saying. Experiences, especially with the huge clubs in League One, is like he's been there and done it before. Sheffield Wednesday, Chelsea. The experience would help a lot for us.
And how good would it be to see Sam Hutchinson score a 90th minute winner against Reading?
There you go. That would be huge.
Against his former club, just turn around and say, "Up yours for sacking me off when I was injured."
Exactly. There we go. Next up, loans. 4 loan players: James Furlong, Owen Goodman, Joe Pigott, and Alistair Smith. 2 of them obviously haven't had the best of seasons. Had spells where they've been, can't even say okay, to be honest. They haven't been great. Owen Goodman and Alistair Smith. We saw a couple of weeks ago that Alistair Smith has been released by Lincoln City. Obviously, they're in the same league as us going into next season. I really hope he does sign, but it's, as we said, it's going to be so tough to keep all of these players signing. Owen Goodman, 25 clean sheets. Seems like he's loved it here. It's kind of been a new home, but he's obviously stayed in South London. But again, there's going to be big interest. It'll be tough to keep all of them. Do we think of any of those loanies that we had this season will sign on for next season? I think if we had to keep one, it's got to be Owen Goodman, in my opinion. No, you don't. You disagree?
Well, no, it's not that I disagree. I just don't think it's going to happen. I can't see in the world of me that's going to happen. I think Alistair Smith is so much more likely, because I just think the relationship he's had in midfield with Reeves, and he has been our ever-present central midfielder all season. I don't think he's really missed any games, has Alistair Smith, this season. He's been.
I think it was one he missed. I saw.
He's been ever present, and he's been such a. He had a little blip of form mid-season where he wasn't. He was more of a holder instead of just a midfielder getting around the pitch. He had a slight dip in form, but other than that, he's been fantastic for us, and I think he's way more realistic. Being a free agent now, from a League One club. He's obviously, he can easily play at League One level. So I just can't. I think Owen Goodman's just going to be too good for League One. I think there's going to be Championship teams coming in for him. Lower league sides, and one of the sides that might have gone up out of League One. I don't know if they're from League One. I don't know if they're after a goalkeeper, but he's a fantastic goalkeeper. He's proved it this season, and to get him back at playing for League One when he's going to be high-end League One teams and Championship teams sniffing around, no doubt about it, because he's got the nod at England and 21's training camp.
Yep.
There's so many things pointing in his way for his future. I mean, we've fallen in love with so many lone player goalkeepers. I can't feel like we see him playing for us again.
I don't think I'd be too worried if he doesn't sign on. I mean, Bezo, just full credit to him, because when Owen Goodman did come in, he seemed shy, didn't seem like he was confident enough. Obviously, Colchester conceded 80 goals beforehand, and now it's 35 in the league. So that is really impressive as well. I think if we brought in any keeper, if they're young, a loanee, free transfer, I think if you put full confidence in Bezo, then I'm sure he will make whoever we get into a good goalkeeper. Ivor, your thoughts on those loanees? Do you agree with Scott? Do you see any of them coming back in?
I think we've got a chance with Goodman because we've gone up.
Yeah,
I really do. He's young enough. Palace, it's local. The people that come and watch him, they're never going to get anywhere more local, are they? I suppose unless he went to Charlton, I suppose. But I can't see Palace going to Charlton somehow. That doesn't sit well. So I think that there is a squeak. They'll also know that we'll get a lot of shot practice because they know exactly where we are. We're very tight with the guys at Palace now. So I think that we're definitely not out of running there. Definitely. And I'm pretty sure that would be the preferred option because we'd be mad for it not to be, right?
Exactly.
So I think there's a chance there. I'd love him to sign. I'd love him to sign for us. I like him. I liked him from the first minute I saw him. I think he can get better. I think he's got better. I think he can get better again. So, if we can afford it, I don't know what kind of money he was on at Lincoln. I don't know if we can afford all these players. We might not be able to afford, Smudger taking on his full wage. We might not be, Goodman, the money will go up for Goodman almost certainly, but I would certainly, I think there's a squeak there for that. I think I'm going 50-50, in fact.
Exactly. I hope so.
50-50. But if not, I'm like you. Bezo will get sorted out one way or another. Anyway. I'd like to goalkeeper.
Exactly.
But also, just on the Goodman thing, Palace might just want him as a second choice.
Oof. There you go.
But their second choice was Turner from Nottingham Forest, on loan from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
And he's returned back now. So they haven't really got a second choice goalkeeper. So maybe
they got the other boy that used to play for us who's been out on loan at where was he? Was he at Exeter or somewhere like that?
Yes, he was out on loan, but as Goodman had a better season than them, you'd probably say so, wouldn't you? So that is an option, isn't it, for Palace? You see, like you say, if we are tight knit to him, we might be able to get a deal across the line. But there's going to be young goalkeepers out there wanting a loan, if not anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Maybe even get Spike Bricks back.
There you go. That is actually a shout. I think. I mean, he's been on the bench a couple of times for Man City.
Yeah. I mean, he just wants.
One thing with a goalkeeper you don't want, because we've seen it go wrong before, is you don't want a first year. You don't want a first loan. You want them to have been out beforehand as a goalkeeper. That's something that that's something I saw very up close, and I really hope that we don't do a first loan again. And Spike, I would walk across Coles to have Spike back one day because I used to interview him as a 6-year-old when he was a mascot, and he used to come on with those goalkeeper gloves that he got for Bezo. He used to come on, and I'd say, "What are you doing in goalkeepers gloves?" And he'd say, "Oh, I'm going to be a goalie." And I'm like, "No, you're not. You're shorter than me." He was under time, to be fair. And then all of a sudden he did it like 5 or 6 years on the spin, and then I can't remember. We hadn't seen him for a long time, and all of a sudden it's like, and Spike Brits, and this came. I said, "You're not Spike. You're too tall to be Spike." I was like that with a microphone. It's unbelievable. Brilliant. I really hope he's going to make it, Spike. I know he is.
100%. Right, moving on to the controversial stuff, departing the club. To be honest, I was expecting all of them to sign. I think a couple of people have had some different opinions online. I'll read it out now. Ruben Amissa, James Ball, Husbiller, Paris Lock, Ryan McLean, Will Nightingale, John Joe O'Toole, Lewis Ward, and Morgan Williams. All of them haven't had game time all season, to be honest. And that's kind of why I'm saying I expected all of them. A few of the players, James Ball, a lot of them were controversial, but in a way, he hasn't had minutes. There was a apparent fallout between him and Johnny Jackson, but I have no clue if that's true. Great character, but I think if he can join another League Two club where he can get minutes, maybe, I don't know, a Barnet getting promoted, I think he'd do quite well there. Morgan Williams, I think, young prospect. I've always rated him. I think I take it back to the Chelsea game where he started at Stamford Bridge. I thought he was phenomenal. Ryan McLean had the injury, ACL and everything like that, obviously coming back now, but never going to get in the starting 11. They've all had their moments. Will Nightingale, obviously he's got his testimonial. I think that's a good thing to talk about as well. It's going to be a good day out for everyone. Loads of former Wimbledon players coming down. Is that kind of departing the club section as we expected in a way?
Nothing surprised me on that list. I don't mean to say I don't love the players. I mean, Morgan, I absolutely loved Morgan. Absolutely brilliant. Bally, great character. Really, really, sorry that whatever happened with him. I think he could, that period when he played centre back for us, he was a Rolls Royce. He was a Rolls Royce, absolutely phenomenal. But something's happened, and that's that. Nothing to do about it. It happens in football, unfortunately. But there's knowing that we're going into League One. I don't think that maybe with the exception of Bally, that there's anyone that we're releasing.
Yeah,
Scott, yourself?
Yeah, 100%. John Joe has been, probably better in the backroom side of things. So there was no surprise to see him go. He probably will get some minutes for a conference side, maybe. Hussein Bala, I don't think he's a right wing back. I think he's a right back. I think he's too small to be a right back at this level. And he has got a mistake in him, bless him. Go back to the Newport game, came on within 5 minutes, gave away a penalty. Morgan Williams, him and James Ball were both in the central midfield against Chelsea, and they were fantastic. They were brilliant. They had £200 million worth of central midfielders against them at that point, and they didn't look too far out of place. But something's gonna miss with Morgs. He's had a couple of good loans with Dorking. Maybe he probably can step up now and go to a conference side and get some. But all's not lost with Morgs. He probably just needs to find a full good season in senior football. And he might kick on and he might bypass us at one point, play for another club. You never know, but he's not going to get in the midfield when you've got Jake Reeves, who's a club legend and has been fantastic and a leader. And he's not going to get in above Smudger and Hippolyte and Maycock. They just cover the ground much better than Morgan, unfortunately. There's James Ball, character, brilliant centre half. In the back three, I thought he was fantastic. He can play out from the back. He can, run out with the ball. Something's going to miss there. There'll probably be teams, up from where, up further up north from where he's from, sort of thing, probably having a little sniffing around him. And, good luck to him. He's been brilliant for it. Every single time he's been told to play in a position, he's done it. He played in the centre attacking midfield role at Wrexham away last year, I believe. So, he's played all over the park for us, and there's no surprise there at all for me.
Exactly. Ivor, Will Nightingale's got his testimonial on Sunday. On Sunday? Yeah. Is it Saturday? I can't remember.
Sunday, 2:00.
Wanted to get kind of your thoughts on that. Obviously, he's been at Wimbledon since very, very young, came through the academy and everything like that. How special is going to be that day for him, and kind of past on that day, where do you see him going? Do you see him going back up to Scotland, staying down here? What's been your opinion on Will Nightingale?
I mean, first of all, when you talk about club legend, we throw that about quite willy-nilly at times, but Will really is a club legend. He started at a club when he was 8 years old. He's seen a lot with us, Will, and he has got an inner strength. He's got stuff going for him that I can't tell you how much. I love Will as a nice bloke. As he Will, of everyone that we've had, epitomises what we talk about being a community club, right? And I think we obviously with DLAG and so many other things that we do, the foundation and so on. I think that the player, all of our players from day one, that epitomises being a community club representative. It is 100% Will Nightingale. He never turned anything down. He did absolutely everything that we wanted him to do. And what a gentleman. What an absolute gentleman. And he deserves a big crowd to turn out on Sunday. I'm not going to go into the wheres and wherefores of why he got the deal that he got when he got it. I'm not particularly I'm not here to particularly talk about that. I thought that was a mistake at the time, but that's not Will's fault. I'm not blaming Will for that. At the end of the day, Will Nightingale deserves our love and respect, and to me, he should always get that whenever he comes anywhere near Wimbledon. We should roll out that red carpet for him. Proper club legend, and in years to come, I really hope. I look at Dickie Guy, 75 years old, our club president. I'd love to think that when Will Nightingale's, getting on a little bit, Will Nightingale's going to be a future Wimbledon club president, and he's a proper man. Where I love him to pieces. Absolutely.
Are you going to be there Sunday, Ivor?
100%. I'm going to be doing some auctioning and a bit of MCing, badgering everybody to spend their money and help look after our own. Really, when we sing is one of our own, is one of our own. Will really is one of our own, and we need.
You've got to give him special treatment.
100%, 100%.
Exactly.
I think he's Wimbledon's youngest ever club captain as well.
Yeah,
there you go.
He was an absolute diamond. He's a lovely lad to meet, speak to. Yeah. I remember having a bit of a joke with him, and I said, "My missus fancies you, Will." And he went to me. He says, "Yeah." She said, "Can we swap?" And he says, "Yeah, I can do." And I says, "Oh, I'm in here and all then." But yeah, he's just a proper down to earth lad, and he just typifies everything to do with Wimbledon. He's fantastic, and he put his body on the line for the club week in, week out. I remember him, bless him, he played in central midfield against Coventry away. I think it might have been the season about 3 seasons into League Two, maybe. And he was playing in older midfield, and he got chucked in there, and he ran his socks off. He was fantastic. He never played in that position before in his life, and he ran his socks off. And then Bradford away about 4 years ago, I'm pretty sure he did some sort of ligament in his leg, and he ended up heading the ball past a Bradford City player on the floor and played the whole 90 minutes. And he didn't have to do that, but we had no other players that could come on in that position, and he just, like I say, he is just a Wimbledon through and through. If you cut him open, I think he'll bleed yellow and blue.
There you go. That is some sensational words again. Final moments of the stream. Retain list, all out there, all completed, all talked about. Positions of kind of players that or positions that we need to strengthen going into next year. If there's a couple on your mind, if we can keep everyone that we want, are there any positions that we need to strengthen? Scott, Ivor?
Yeah, I've done a few. I wrote a few down today, actually. I think we're going to need another left wing back. We just struggled this season with, if Tilly was out, it was Furlong, and Furlong just wasn't the right man for the job. Right wing back maybe as well. If Josh does go, or if Josh stays, we might need a backup there. I don't think Aaron Sasso is the right wing back that Johnny Jackson is looking for. I think maybe next season a loan move for him to have a full season in League Two will be good for him.
100%.
if we don't get Smudger, we need another midfielder. Jake Reeves is always likely to get 6 months of, 3-4 months of injuries every season, bless him. So we're going to need a holding midfielder. Is that Sam Hutchinson? He's a bit of an old red, but is he going to be playing in that position if Jake Reeves get injured, if we do get him? Do we need another striker? Is Max Stevens going to be the one to bag goals in League One? Personally, I don't think so. So I've had a little look. There's Nathan Lowe out looking for a loan move to League One football.
I did see that. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I think Gordon for Walsall, I've been banging on about him as a left wing back. I think he's fantastic. 26. Been at Charlton as well, I think. So I don't know if he's from around the London area. Maybe he might want a chance coming back. There's Jordan Shipley that was at Shrewsbury last year. Got promoted with Coventry from League 2 and League 1. He's a midfielder that can score goals as well, which we could probably have. And also a little cheeky one, Max Anderson from Crawley.
Yep.
Holding midfielder, 24-year-old. Maybe he could be the one that's Jake Reeves' replacement when injured. I don't know, but
I love the research. This is the research I want to hear, by the way.
Oh, I'm here for it. But I do think we need to be on the market for a right wing back right now. We need to be looking at. I think Craig Cope's looking at both wing backs, another midfielder, and another striker. I think that's what we'll be looking at. Eagles' goals dried up last season. Josh Kelly has been prolific in League 2, so what's saying he's going to do it in League 1. Matt Stevens' goals dried up towards the end of the season. I was in League 1 with Forest Green and didn't score too many. So there's going to be a couple of interesting things going on, but there's a right wing back at Burton Albion that I don't mind as well. Goodwin Malife, I think it is.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I just think he would be somebody that we would be interested in because he gets up and down the right wing very well, and he doesn't really ever get beaten for pace, and that's something that Josh Nerfel doesn't do. So
true.
They're the positions. I think centre half, skip Ryan Johnson. I don't think any centre half is going to be coming in. Sam Hutchinson also signs. He's another centre half waiting, isn't he? Ethan Sutcliffe, will he go out and loan again, or will he be able to get a couple of games when people are injured? And obviously you got Kai Jennings coming in. So there you
go.
I think, like you say, this season's going to be a bit of a sideways movement. Try and pick up a couple of loans again, and probably a couple of free agents.
I think I have full trust in Craig Cope as well. I think everyone does, to be honest with you, and Andy Thorne as well. I think we're a very attractive club to play for, to be honest. Good fan base, good management team. Behind the scenes, everyone's positive as well. I think it's a great club to kind of build your footballing CV on, portfolio on, to be honest with you. So I think that's another important aspect as well.
Yeah, and I think for any young players out there that want to come and learn senior football, they've got fantastic players to play with. Any player that is playing higher up and wants to loan move to League 1, League 2 football, who else to show them the ropes than Sam Hutchinson and Jake Reeves that have been there and done it year in, year out? There isn't many that I've had a look at League 1, League 2 football. There's not many players that have been there year in, year out and played at a very good level and are very good players that can, guard these people. Joe Lewis can guard anybody as well. But I just think we need that spark up front. I think we're going to need somebody that's going to bang in 15 goals next season and in League 1.
Exactly. Ivor, your thoughts on that? Is there any positions that you think we need to kind of strengthen? If you looked at your full strength team that you want for League 1 next season, where do you think we need to strengthen?
We definitely need strikers.
Yep. Agreed. We can't be doing 1-0s every single game.
No, we've got to find some goals from somewhere. We really do. That's absolutely, for me, that's critical. I actually think Sasu is a striker, and I think that he was unfortunate. He got injured at the wrong time this season. It took a lot longer to get him back than it did. I've still got a lot of belief in Sasu, and I'd like to see him really be unleashed as a striker. He's going to grow, and as he grows, he gets bigger. He's going to, he could turn into something really good, in my opinion. He's just got to have a run of games. It's going to be very difficult for him to break in now at League One. I think he would have broken in properly if he hadn't have had that horrible injury. So, but I think we have to find, I think we've got to find 20 goals or something. So
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone said a big centre forward, Andrew May, a big centre forward that's not Bougill. Right, okay.
And another one. Foyo could be good after a pre-season. Interesting about Foyo. He's not League One level. Harrogate got a pretty decent assist for Ali Smith's goal. Would like to see maybe, I don't know what level he's at, to be honest. Is he maybe non-league, just the league above Chelmsford that he played for last season, and maybe a loan could be good for him? Interesting, really. I'm not too sure about Foyo.
I mean, Barnet have been in my head the whole time we've been talking about this.
Yeah.
I mean, Barnet should really be looking at somebody like Will Nightingale, and they should be looking at maybe getting a loan for Foyo or Sasu. Just come up into League Two football. Take a punt on these lads that have played in League Two last year but not had enough game time. Just a local side like that to try and have a bit of a punt on Foyo and Sasu to get some game time in them, because the goals are going to dry up next season, and we haven't got that League One striker in us. I kind of forgot about Foy until he was on the pitch on Monday celebrating. I just think he has him. They'll be in pre-season, no doubt, but I think towards the back end of pre-season, I can see Foyo and Sasu definitely going out on loan and getting League Two conference football week in, week out, just to help them grow, and they might come back to us towards back in the next season and help us either stay up or keep a nice little mid-table obscurity level.
I think they'll be out of contract then, so that's going to be a difficult one.
Was Foyo two? I thought Foyo signed a 2-year one though, didn't he?
Oh yeah, but yes, yeah. So we took him out on loan, and then we got him for a season as a full player.
Yeah.
I think you'll see him involved next season. He's raw and young. But
Yeah.
I think he'll stick with us. I've got a feeling. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that he could be the real deal. Be lovely if he was. Wouldn't it be lovely if he was? Yeah, I like that thought far more than I think if Sasa was going to go out on loan, it should have been this season. But his injury stopped anything like that happening. But so I think he's got a make or break year next year for us.
Final one. That is a large one. We just need variety up front. Matty was sussed out by defenders and then closed out of every game. Chuck on a striker who plays completely different and watch defences struggle to know how to cope. There you go. I do agree, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well said, Stephen.
Oh, we said it on here a while ago, didn't we? So I brought it up about him. The players weren't doubling up on Josh anymore. They were doubling up, and Josh Murphy was still getting the ball into box, and Max Stevens was becoming free. And then Max Stevens, like every League Two side, had a defence, a back three, and he was occupying all three. So maybe, like I say, maybe a big striker, maybe, well, they'd say, but maybe even Ollie Palmer.
You know what? Why not? He has scored a couple goals in League One this season.
Is he in contract with Wrexham still? I think he's on another 1-year deal.
Not sure personally.
I think he did. I'm not sure that's a realistic thought, Ollie Palmer. Really. Not sure. No, if he's still in contract there, we've got no chance of getting him.
Oh no, but maybe I'm just thinking more of a loan thing, because I can't see him play. Wrexham are going to go out and spend big money, aren't they? I think he signed an extra 1-year deal during the season, didn't he? So I don't know. Maybe they'll get him off the wage bill a bit and get these big players that they keep on saying that linked with for £50,000 a week or whatever.
Yeah, well, they'll have a nice. He'd have had a clause in his contract that if they got into the championship, he'd be on X amount, and I'd be very surprised if anyone could afford the loan fee for him.
Amazing. Well, we've done an hour and 10 minutes.
Wow.
live
Love
stream. Look at that. Amazing. Final question, non-football related. We've only got about a month until the kind of pre-season stuff gets announced, blah, blah, blah. What is our both kind of summer's going to look like? We're going on holiday anywhere? Scott, we might be going away September-ish, but that's when the season starts. Either of you got anything nice planned in the summer that you're willing to share?
No, I'm doing loads of work, and I'm hoping to get a few rounds of golfing. Maybe a few more than I should.
You love your golf. You love your golf.
I love my golf. I love it. Anyone wants to challenge me out there? Bring it on! Come on!
There we go.
Either I'll come and have a knock with you. We'll see what gets.
Anytime you like, Scott, but you've got to get your hair sorted out first, mate.
Oh, that'll be sorted out in the next 4 weeks.
That's the golf ball.
Yeah, no. But you'll be able to see me in the trees anyway.
Yeah. I'd love to have a round of golf with you, Scott. I think it could be very funny.
Yeah, well, and you, and you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, there we go. Scott, Ivor, thank you for joining us again. Not sure how many live streams we'll do because the season's ended, but we'll maybe catch up in like a month's time or something. Go on, Scott.
Why don't we do one when the fixtures are announced?
There you go.
We can have a bit of a planning session on here and see what other fans are going to be joining us for the long trips up north and down south.
Oh, I love that.
And then
there you go.
And then have a preview during the pre-season games, maybe. You've got
it all sorted out, haven't you? Love it. Amazing. Scott, Ivor, thank you for joining us today.
Take it easy.
Exactly. Enjoy your summer, everyone. Thank you for everyone for joining us as well. And yeah, come on, you Dons. See you in League One. There you go. Come on, you Dons.